Hello and welcome back to the Odd Shopper YouTube channel. I'm Isaiah. I'm here to break down this weekend's action at Charlotte. We've got the Coke 600 on tap, one of NASCAR's crown jewel races. I'm excited. I'm coming to you from Terre Haute. That's right, Larry Bird country this week as I help take care of my nephew. So let's get into this NASCAR race. Last weekend was terrible. North Wilkesboro return, great. The action, not present. Kyle Larson ran away with the race from the get-go. None of our bets hit on the All-Star race. That's tough. We didn't have a big card, but still a little frustrating. I'm looking to get back on track with this weekend's event in Charlotte. We're going to talk about the race preview. I'm going to talk about how you can get your name on Zane Smith's truck at Mid-Ohio, courtesy of Tipico Sportsbook. I'm going to talk about how you can get access to my full NASCAR betting cards via Odd Shopper Insider Access. It's going to be a great video. We've got a lot to get into. Let's get started with the race preview. So, obviously, we're at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Charlotte's a 1.5 mile high-speed intermediate oval. So that means that it rewards high speed. It means that it rewards talent and tire management a little bit less. So that means that drivers for really strong teams that have shown a lot of speed at other high-speed intermediates are going to perform well here in all likelihood. So that means we're going to be looking at Las Vegas and at Kansas. And if you think about who did well at those races, it was pretty much just the Joe Gibbs and 23XI Toyotas, as well as the Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets. Although there is one exception to that who's actually going to make the card this weekend that we'll talk about in a little bit. So also things to know about this race. The Coke 600 is the longest race on the schedule, which increases the amount of attrition in the field because, well, if you're running for 600 miles, there's a higher chance your engine fails or you have a tire go down or someone drives their car into you. So relatively high attrition event. But generally, it's somewhat predictable. So, I mean, even though there's a lot of attrition, you're not going to see an unexpected winner win all that often. But it's an okay shot for long shots. It's not like Daytona or Talladega, but it's one of the better shots or one of the better tracks for long shots on the schedule. Before I get into the picks, let me talk about Tipico Sportsbook. So, have you ever wanted your name on a Craftsman Truck Series truck? It won't be on the name rail, but it'll be somewhere on there. If you deposit at least $38 at Tipico Sportsbook, you'll get just that, your name on the truck, plus $150 in bonus credits. Smith will pilot the number 38 Tipico Ford at Mid-Ohio come July. It should be a great race. Smith is great at road courses, so he has a chance to win the race, and your name has a chance to end up in victory lane. You should act fast because only the first 300 depositors will get their name on the number 38 Ford. Also, another cool part of this promotion is that the top 5 depositors in total amount deposited will actually get VIP passes to a Truck Series event of their choice. So you're not stuck just going to this one race in July in Mid-Ohio. If you already have plans that weekend, you can actually pick a date that works better for you or a track that is a little bit closer. So for more details and disclaimers, check the article in the description, and we have all the disclaimers in the description down there. In short, call 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a problem. Great. Let me pull up the odds board. We're going to start with a driver who has relatively short odds here, Ross Chastain at 19-2. So Chastain nearly won last year's event, and he's steadily worked through the field and won stage 3 last year before he faded during stage 4. That's right. If you're paying attention at home, you know that NASCAR races usually have 3 stages, but because the Coke 600 is so damn long, we actually have 4. So Chastain won stage 3, but not the race last year. So he steadily worked his way through the field to get to that point, and the progress that he showed during the race is really encouraging to me, especially because he kind of struggled in qualifying at points last year, but he's looked great qualifying this year. At Kansas and at Las Vegas, those are our competitors, Cripe. He scored top 10 starting positions both times. So I think he should be able to get a top 10 starting position for this race, which means he'll have to work from behind a little bit less than he did last year. Also, he actually did quite well in both of those events. He recorded a driver rating above 100 at both Kansas and Las Vegas, which is dominant. He also has some problems with other drivers hunting for him and seeking some retaliation for on-track scuffles he's gotten into with them this year. But the good news is that he didn't make any new enemies at North Wilkesboro. He actually pulled away from Kyle Larson, so that way Larson could get by him in the Truck Series race and really didn't make a whole lot of noise outside of that. So Chastain, not a ton of new enemies. I don't think anyone's going to be hunting for him this weekend. We can get him at 19-2 at Tipico, but if you go to BetMGM, he is still at 11-1. I absolutely love that number. I would slam that before it disappears. Our second pick. We're going to go to a favorite here. One of the top three guys in the odds board. We're not going to look at Kyle Larson. That number is just too short for me. We're going to look at William Byron, who we can get at 7-1, not at that, or yeah, at 7-1, not at the 6-1 you see there over at BetMGM as well. So why are we so keen on Byron here? Well, Hendrick Motorsports dominated at Las Vegas and Kansas. Byron himself led 65% of the laps at Vegas, and obviously he went on to win the race. He then led 10 laps at Kansas before finishing P3. So I'm pretty confident in Byron. He also pretty good in qualifying at those tracks. He qualified second at Vegas and then first at Kansas. So he should be able to start up front at Charlotte. Another important thing to know about Charlotte is that we've seen some really dominant runs here in the recent past. We've seen Truex, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson all lead 300 plus laps within the last decade. All of the times they did that from the pole. Last year's winner, Denny Hamlin, led, I think, less than 10 laps. He also started on the pole. So starting on the pole could matter a lot for Sunday's race at Charlotte, which is why I'm kind of slanting these picks toward guys who I think can do well in qualifying, like Chastain and Byron. Great. But before we get into our longest long shot, because we always have to have a long shot, let me tell you about Odd Shopper Insider Access. You can gain access to our betting experts in our premium Discord in real time. We'll send out picks like live bets we'll add to our betting cards, and we'll even post bets as we make them in real time, so that way you get the best numbers before the books adjust to our sharp action. You'll also get things like office hours. You'll get things like my betting models during the NFL season. And by the way, you can get your first week of access for 50% off, and then it's just $19.95 after that. So what I recommend you do is you sign up for OddsShopper Insider Access using code ISInsider. That's ISInsider to get your first week half off. Then you tail all of our bets, because it's not just me you get access to. You get access to Aton's parlays, which are on fire. You get access to Lindy's leans, likes, and locks, which is great if you're an MLB bettor. And you get access to Ben Ross's stuff, which he bets on a ton of sports that he has edge on, like college baseball and college lacrosse, which I don't know anything about. So I absolutely love tailing him on those plays because it's sports I wouldn't care about otherwise. So again, you can get your first week of access half off, which means you can make your money back and then start paying for the Discord with money you're making because you're in the Discord. So I strongly recommend that you join. It's also good vibes. You celebrate wins and we feel bad about losses together. It's nice. Great. Our last pick. Again, I promised you a long shot, and I'm going to deliver. Let's talk about Austin Dillon. So if you look at the odds board here, he's at 80-1. That's pretty long, but you can get a longer price. He's 90-1 over at DraftKings. So why are we taking Austin Dillon? Well, remember earlier when I talked about how this is an attrition race? Let me close out of this odds board real quick. This is an attrition race, and Austin Dillon is one of the best drivers in attrition races we've seen. Last year, Daytona Summer, almost the entire field crashed because of a fluke rain situation. He won the race. Coke 600 a few years ago. Fuel strategy call, lots of wrecks. He won the race. Austin Dillon is one of the best attrition drivers there is. He is such a conservative driver that he doesn't overrun his equipment, which usually wouldn't matter at a track like Charlotte, but because of how damn long this race is, Dillon gets a leg up for that reason. And I mention the fact that he won the Coke 600 recently, and he is still at odds of 80-90-1? Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. The year that he won the Coke 600, so his stats at Las Vegas and at Kansas weren't that great. I'll come clean with you. I wasn't super impressed with either RCR, Richard Childress Racing, or Austin Dillon. However, the year that he won the Coke 600, he scored a 25th place finish at Las Vegas and a 16th place finish at Kansas. Not great results. He didn't inspire a ton of confidence then. This year, he finished P27 in Vegas and P10 at Kansas. So actually, he showed a little bit more speed at these high-speed intermediate tracks this season than he did in the year that he actually won the Coke 600. What does that mean? I'm obviously not going to say, oh yeah, he has mediocre results at both tracks, therefore he's a lock, just like the other year. He usually posts pretty mediocre results at those tracks, let's be honest. But we've seen Dillon survive high attrition events. We also saw Tyler Reddick, his former teammate, win at Charlotte's sister track, Texas, last season in a relatively normal event. It wasn't even a high attrition event. Reddick just looked great. So those are all reasons why I would recommend backing Dillon at, again, 90-1 at DraftKings. So I've already pulled out the odds board, so let's go through our recap. Number one, Ross Chastain, 11-1 at BetMGM. He is only, I think, 9-2. No, 19-2 at Tipico. So you're going to want to go to MGM for that. Byron 7-1 at MGM, and Dylan 80-1 at Tipico. Not a bad deal. If that's your first bet at Tipico, that's your first bet at Tipico. Go ahead and sign up over there. But you can get 90-1 at DraftKings, which is a much better deal. And again, you should really always be playing the best odds. So yeah, play that line at DraftKings. That's going to do it for this week's video. As always, like and subscribe if you found this content useful. And especially if I make you some money, come back and make sure you've hit that like and subscribe button if I'm helping build your bankroll. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you next weekend, and let's make some more money.